Hi. It is that Friday. We know how we do it. This is Couples Will Show, where we write down our love while we are alive. As we have always said, we don't want our love story to be told when we are dead. We don't want our love story to be read when we are 6 feet under. Couples Will Show, where we come together and discuss issues that are affecting marriages, and you try to come up with solutions so that we can enjoy marriage. For Couples Will Show, we strongly believe marriages work. Yes, and we are saying kwaheri to the month of love, the month of February, and we are doing it in style. After all the love, now tonight we want to talk about, should we have personal space in marriage? That is the topic we are handling tonight. Space or personal space in marriage. And who else can handle such a topic? I have a theologian, a marriage and family therapist. His name is Sami Munyiri. Is it Munyiri or Munyeri? Munyeri. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, really. It's a joy being here.
Yes.
And thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you for honoring our invitation.
You're welcome.
I know you are a very, very busy man, but you found time to come and be with us. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes.
You're welcome.
So maybe you can tell our viewers who is Sam.
Hi, viewer. My name is Sam Onyere, and I'm delighted to be here this evening as we learn together, as we engage in this talk. I serve with the Anglican Church of Kenya, Nairobi Diocese, and currently at a parish called St. Clement with Roy 44. I am married to one girl or wife called Elizabeth Watiri, and God has blessed us with a son and a daughter, Sifa and Ahadi. And I'm delighted to be with you.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
A lovely introduction. Yes, and tonight we are discussing about personal space in marriage.
Yes.
So to kick us off, what is personal space in marriage?
Willie, I will start by referring us from to the Bible, where in Genesis chapter 1 and 2, after God created Adam and Eve, he says that when Adam saw Eve, he said, "This is the flesh of my flesh, this is the bone of my bone." And it's actually recorded that for this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and they become one.
Yes.
And I think I will not dispute what this verse means, but I strongly believe that this verse has many times been misinterpreted. This is because when the Bible says that they'll become one, it does not mean that Sam and Elizabeth start doing things uniformly. They still remain two individuals,
yes,
who've been brought up by God together in an union. And so it is very important for these two individuals who are in a marriage covenant to come together as one, but still remain with what we are calling a personal space. Personal space in marriage means that there are times that as a husband, I will take time and have the me time. And as a wife, she will sit in her own space and have her me time.
Yes.
Personal space in marriage. Very important in every marriage union.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you trying to say that when you got married,
yes,
your life did not end? You still have your life as Sam?
Yes.
And Watiri has her life as Watiri? Waturi, sorry.
Yes.
So getting married, yes, does not make our lives to stop, or rather, the vision that I had does not stop, yes, because I have gotten married.
Yes and no. When we say that our lives do not come to an end, definitely there are some elements in our lives which will have to change drastically. But there are other areas of our lives, no matter how far we go in marriage, that will never change. For instance, our purposes in life, my purpose might remain different from the purpose of my wife. Our calling in life, my wife is a teacher, I am a pastor. And that does not mean that I become a teacher pastor and she becomes a teacher pastor. It means that we still remain into our life purposes, but we are united by God in marriage. And this means there are times that I'll sit down and have a me time as a pastor, me time as a husband, and she will also want her time as a mother, as a teacher, as a wife. And this is where the difference comes in. But definitely there are some elements in life that will have to change and accommodate the new dimension now, which is the marriage itself. But definitely, you're right when you say that my life does not have to stop, her life does not have to stop.
It must continue.
It has to continue.
But I think what I'm getting is that what we need to do is that I need to help you pursue your dreams as you help me to pursue my dreams. So I don't have to make my dreams now to be shattered because now I have married you. And this has happened. You'll find that there are some men, when they marry, they want to make their wives to be like servants. So all the dreams their wives had, they must stop, and you start now supporting this other dream, which you don't even have no idea where it is headed to. So we should support each other. Yes.
And it is okay in marriage to have, as much as we encourage people to do things together, it is okay if my talent is different from that of my wife. For instance, in our family I can sing. My wife is not a very good singer. It is okay for me to pursue that because she also has her strength in an area where I am not very talented. It is also good at times to allow people to enjoy different hobbies. Because it is not a must that because my wife loves reading,
you now automatically
become a leader. That is why we're talking about personal space. Where we allow the couple to thrive together, but still thrive in their areas where God has called them individually. Personal space.
Wow. Now, why personal space in marriage?
There are a lot of reasons why we should encourage personal space in marriage, but we'll talk about three. And the first one is so that we can have time to pause and self-examine. Where I sit down and evaluate myself. What kind of husband have I been? How am I in my walk, in the calling that God has placed in my life? How am I relating with my relatives? How am I bringing up my children? How am I treating my wife? Some of these things can only happen when you take time alone and meditate. Some of these things can only become clearer when you think about them at your personal space.
It is when you are alone.
When you're alone and meditating and pausing, because the mistake that most people will do in marriage is that they will start a journey and they will not at some point pause to look back and evaluate so that they can assess and see what to do in the future. And this has to happen in two dimensions, or even at times three, or even at four. It has to happen at a personal level, where I have this discipline as a husband, or my wife has a discipline as a wife, to go sit down and take time alone and evaluate and listen to God and look at inside them and see where they are coming from, where they are and where they want to go. It must happen also at a couple's level, where we sit down and talk and have this conversation where we're asking ourselves, where are we going, are we still on the track? At times it has to happen even with friends, where we sit down and as friends who are in marriage and we evaluate and God at times will speak in that discussion. And at times it might even have to happen in a religious event where maybe it's in a church seminar where where we are seated and somebody is helping us go through our journey of marriage to see where we are going and what entails in all this. But personal space is very key, so that we can pause, evaluate, meditate, and see the way forward. The other reason I want to give is that personal space in marriage should be encouraged so that people don't suffocate one another.
Come on, say that again.
People don't suffocate one another.
What do you mean by suffocating each other?
I mean, I wish I had a proper definition of the term suffocating. But you understand there are times when spouses will intrude each other's space very much, such that you don't give myself time, you don't give me time, or I don't give you time to flourish as an individual.
Yeah.
Where we say now we have to stop everything. That you gave a very good example as you began, where I am married, but I have to let everything go, including the dreams that I had, at the expense of my spouse, or to keep a marriage. And unfortunately, a lot of people are suffocated in marriage unions, where I don't have time as a husband to thrive and flourish in the area where God has placed His purpose in me, or where I don't allow my wife to do the same. And suffocation in marriage would happen in very many ways. Where, and personally, I've seen cases where we meet a few men, we are catching up, we want to see how we are doing.
Yeah.
And let me use the example of my wife. She's calling me after every 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 4 minutes. And
where are you?
Nimekumiss.
Wewe mnakuja saa ngapi?
Unakuja nyumbani saa ngapi? We've missed you. And as much as it is a good thing,
yes,
let's say it's a good thing.
It is.
There's also a positive side about it. But really, you understand that this might suffocate the spouse eventually. It is okay for you one day to take maybe an hour and catch up with an old friend. And the other reality is, as much as we share mutual friends in marriage unions, it is not a must that your friend will be your friend.
Yeah, true.
And once we allow someone healthy personal space, that is actually the word, healthy personal space, you find that the wife can flourish, the husband can flourish, and when these two flourishes, the marriage union flourishes. The last reason I would give in this sitting is that so that we can cultivate the culture of independence. And when I mean independence, I do not try to imply where people are in marriage but they are totally disintegrated. I mean where a husband can think independently. A wife becomes an independent thinker. And when these two people come together independently, because do you know there are some people, Willie, who if the spouse is not around, or if the spouse has traveled or something, life seems to stop if a challenge comes.
I know.
There are people, Willie, who will actually come to a standstill if one of the spouses goes to be with God.
In fact, some of them, your wife travels to Ushago, and it is like life have stopped. You don't know where the socks are. You don't know, yes, I get you.
Independence. And when you talk about independence, we do not talk about, as I said earlier, where we are not one. But being one does not mean that one of us stops thinking or one of us stops living. It means that in this healthy space in marriage, you can stand as an individual. The wife can stand as an individual. And this is how functional marriages should be, where we are independent, we know we are together, we know we are one, but not literally one. It is being one in faith, being one in purpose, being one in direction, and being one even in purpose. But again, not suppressing what God has called us to do at the expense of being in marriage.
Yes.
I know even God does not approve such kind of unions where my purpose will die because I've gotten married.
Yeah.
And we've seen people who are so talented, but the moment they get married, we start asking, kwani alienda wapi? It is because people do not realize that you can have a healthy personal marriage in personal space in marriage, where you still thrive and fulfill your purpose, away from the purpose of your marriage.
Yes.
Because personally, I believe that those are two different things. Yes, really.
Now, how do we balance this personal space in marriage? Because I'm thinking if at times people can go too far, and you find this personal space now is bringing in division in a family. So how should we balance the personal space in marriage?
Your observation is right. If there are no clear boundaries to define what personal space should be, it can now become dangerous. When we talk about personal space, I am deliberate in using the word healthy, where personal space does not mean that I am allowed to do whatever that I want to do, or I sacrifice my marriage because again of wanting to be an individual. Just like everything else in marriage, there must be boundaries, and not just boundaries, but clear boundaries, where we sat down as a family and decided and even communicated very well that on this area, this is the much that we can do. For instance, there are times when I need to prepare sermons or maybe a talk, including this show.
Yeah.
And it took my personal space to do that. Maybe I got home and we agreed with my wife, please sit with the kids in the sitting room.
I want to have some time and prepare.
Upon the Lord in the bedroom for 20 minutes. But this personal space becomes unhealthy when there's no clear communication, when there's no clear definition, when there's no clear agreement or boundary on how far every individual should go as personal space is concerned. And in every healthy or functional marriage, what might be healthy for you might not be healthy for us.
Yeah.
And that is one of the realities that we must live with. That what works for your family might not necessarily work in my family. And so this is something that is unique for every family. Where we will come together, sit down, a husband and wife sit down and they'll agree. Our personal space will be maybe 20 minutes every day. Or our personal space will be happening after this and this every other time, because again you cannot tell us that every day you're having your personal space really.
Yeah.
That kila siku I want to be alone. It must be defined. It must be well elaborated.
Yes.
It must be well communicated.
Yeah, and that's why I asked how we should balance, because there are times people can go overboard. You find Monday to Friday, you're saying, I need my personal space. So you come back home at 12 a.m. every day because I need my personal time. Space. So I think that's why I was asking why or how should we balance this personal stage in marriage?
In marriage.
Yes. Our viewers, personally, do you have personal space in your marriage? It's a question I'm posing. Comment down there if you have. Do you agree? Is it okay to have this personal space in marriage? And we're not just talking about personal space, but healthy personal space in your marriage. Do you have that? kindly comment down there and tell us whether you have that is what we call the me time. You know, at times you leave your family and you just want to have me time. And then how do you do it, or how should it be done? Kindly let us know. And this is Couples Will Show. This is where we write down our love will while we are alive, for we don't want our love story to be told when we are dead. We want the story to be told while we are here on this earth, living this earth and thriving as couples and enjoy this institution of marriage. My friend.
Yes, really.
Now, what happens when you have one spouse who is not ready to give you that personal space in marriage?
Definitely, there is a problem. And a problem that should be addressed. Because if I do not allow you your personal space, there could be reasons.
Yeah.
And some of these reasons could be maybe I do not know that personal space, healthy personal space should exist. And another reason could be maybe because I am problematic. We have problematic spouses in marriages. The other reason could be maybe there are issues that are eating up the marriage union. But I wish every couple would get to this point of empowerment. And really, it is good for us to agree that as couples, we do not know everything. And we go learning every day. It takes an empowered couple to define and to come up with a personal space in marriage which is healthy. And I wish people outside there, and especially going by the example that we've given of a person who does not want to allow someone to have their personal space in marriage, that is someone definitely who needs help.
Yeah.
And that is why we have people who are trained and people who have the expertise in helping make our marriages better.
Yeah.
That is why you have people who will specialize in family and marriage therapy. Because if you see someone who is not allowing another person to thrive personally, definitely that is someone who has issues. That is someone who has issues in marriage. Issues that I strongly believe should be handled by a person who is professional in doing that.
Yes.
Yes.
So let me ask, how, because I know there are many couples who are hearing this for the first time.
Yes.
They have no idea about having personal space in marriage.
Yes.
So how should one tell the other one or explain to the other person the importance of having this personal space in marriage?
Well, this goes back to communication. Because, and I will say it again, that how every family operates is unique. Because every family have their different values. They have different guiding principles. It is different and unique. And this is one of the things that we must respect, because at times you'll find us defining families from our own perspective, which is wrong and actually evil. But for a couple to come and agree that this is what we will do as a family, this is the much time that we spend, this is the activities that we allow to do in personal space. It must take a family that is clear on their vision, a family that is clear on their communication. So that once we agree and once we walk that journey of communication, then we are able now to know where we start as far as personal space in marriage is concerned.
Wow.
Yes.
That is very profound.
Yes.
And I know our viewers, there is something you have learned tonight. As you wind up,
Yes.
What would you say to that couple that doesn't have this personal space in their marriage?
Now, if you're there and you are a couple and you do not have your personal space, healthy personal space in marriage, I will encourage you. The main goal of this show, and you keep repeating that, is so that we can enjoy our marriage before we die. And the reality is that we are dying. And it would be sad that you leave this world having lived in a marriage like a prisoner or a slave. And yet God intends that every person who is in marriage will enjoy.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you do not enjoy marriage here, I don't want to talk about the afterlife. Let us try our best and create health personal space in marriage so that we're able to flourish as couples. We're also able to flourish as individuals and even fulfill our purpose in marriage better. So that as we flourish individually and as couples, the name of God is glorified by the way we live.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, if you're healthy as a person, then you're able to have a healthy marriage.
Yeah.
If you're not healthy as an individual, then definitely your marriage will also have challenges and problems.
True.
It will be a sick marriage. And therefore, personal space is one of the key ingredients. I want to say again, key ingredients in having a healthy marriage union.
Wow.
I recommend personal space to every person.
Wow.
Healthy personal space.
Wow.
When you're in marriage.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Eli.
We have personally have learned, and my wife, I know she's watching. We need to have this, and I believe we'll have this discussion. So thank you very much for coming. We are honored, and go with our love from Wema TV to your church and even to your family.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, that is it. We come to the end of our tonight show. This is Couples Will Show, where we write down our love will while we are alive, as we have always said, and you will continue saying, we don't want our love story to be told when we are dead. Thank you for joining us, and kindly remember to comment down there and tell us about these the personal space in marriage. Do you have personal space in your marriage? And for now, it is a good night. This is Wema TV, the voice of hope.
Wema TV, the voice of hope.